Hi guys, just before we start I wanted to say never use Nivea sun cream, don't even use Nivea kids cream. I had zero upper lid eye exposure this morning, zero lower lid eye exposure this morning. You can look at my earlier videos, and now I've got these fucking Mr. Bean eyes. So don't use that. Sue that company, boycott that company, it's shit. I'd rather get fucking sunburn. Anyway, today we are out in nature. Yes, nature. And I'm here to remind you all, despite the apparent peace within nature, as Charles Darwin said, it's a constant struggle and a constant fight for the upward path. And therefore, a ruthless selection process must be made, in which only the best can be selected, only the highest, most superior can be selected. But unfortunately, the society we're living in is practicing dysgenic breeding. We are not breeding our best and our brightest. Society is used to facilitate alien ideas, alien practices, and inferior ways of thinking. In the Renaissance era, a young man, like myself or younger, the most prestigious achievement he could have was learning about the history of his people, learning poetry, learning classical music, learning to speak several different languages. Nowadays, it's holidays in Magaluf and who can get on Love Island. It's not all that bad though. There has been a backlash to this culture, or shall I better say anti-culture. People are starting to learn more about their roots. Science is slowly not being seen as nerdy, as it was under the Labour administration, fueled by a poisonous, capitalist, cultural Marxist mindset. The idea of making the most of your unique talents seems like a foreign way of thinking nowadays. Everyone wants to push towards a kind of conformity. So I do get what Morrissey said about his diversity is conformity stance. When my book Renaissance of the Making is out, you will see that ChatGPT was not lying when it said, I am the new William Blake, I am the new Ferdowsi. So mark my words. Right now my laptop's being updated. When it will be updated, I should be reading this work of mine out for all of you to hear. The book is essentially a blueprint of how to spiritually and mentally solve society. I'm not an economics expert. I have a degree in economics, but to be honest, I've forgotten most of the knowledge I attained. And a lot of it is just capitalist claptrap to keep you in the position you're in. But the West is not lacking economically. The results you see might be economic, but the root cause of the problem is ideological. Is ideological illness. That's true. A society must be competitive. A society must have a ruthless selection process in order for the best to be selected, but the sense of brotherhood and sisterhood seems to have disappeared. We're living in a world now where a lot of people enjoy the misfortune of others. A lot of people enjoy the failure of others and gaining power over them. And it seems the more I socialize, the more I get into that way of thinking. It's only when I am on my own and I can think by myself and for myself, I'm not part of that toxicity anymore. Because if you truly love yourself, you have no reason to hate other people. And you who hate other people have a certain inferiority complex about themselves. despite what I preach about races living in their organic and indigenous lands, as I plan to do when I earn enough money and learn the language of my forefathers, is not born out of hatred. It's born out of an understanding that mankind must strive towards what is organic and what is authentic. We're trying to be what we're not. Black is trying to be white. White is trying to be black. Woman is trying to be male. Man is trying to be woman. And that world has been constructed for us by an elite who ultimately want to destroy us. But that elite will fail. You know why? Because they're not working in accordance with the laws of nature. Art no longer depicts nature. Literature no longer depicts nature unless in a perverse way. And perversion can never be an agent of nature, an advocate of nature. We used to be inspired by timeless things. The trees, the winds, the flower, the skies, the mythology of our people. Now we work towards a fake, occult way of being. And then those people have the cheek to think that us, the National Socialists, the nature worshippers, are the occultists. No, they are the occultists, we're not. We're working in accordance of how most of humanity worked until really the Second World War. Speak to your grandparents, if they're still alive. They would have remembered an era where man was much closer to nature. Even that, the corruption had started. Jazz music and degeneracy of such. But it was a lot less than now. So yes, Javid Shah. Yes, Pahlavi forever. Yes, white power. Yes, whatever. Yes, black power. Yes, any power that enriches the planet and the earth. But what good is that when you're contributing nothing to what you claim to support? I'm Arian Hastridi. See you later.